following Four Aces production is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is highly advised.
All right. Hey, y'all. We are live here in Four Aces Studios with Four Aces Virtual Studios, and I am here for the Cheap Pop Podcast, where I am here with the one and only Alpha, who's come out of hiding after a few weeks of technical difficulties. What's up, Alpha?
Yes, I wish I was hiding. Your boy had a nicely shattered phone, and my speaker is straight shot. But your old friend came in clutch and copped himself a jack and bought a whole ass new headset just to get this done because guess what? I miss my people.
And here with us for the first time, the one and only, a long-time friend of mine, one of my wrestling compadres, the one and only Scotty P. How you doing? He's done a couple episodes of West Coast Bias, so he's not new to Four Aces, but he is new to this show. What's up, brother?
What's going on, guys? Good to be here.
Not much, man, not much. All right, so let's kick it off like this. Like I told you guys before, there's a couple of topics that we're going to be covering that me and Saint covered, and which Saint's going to be joining us here in a little bit, that we covered on previous weeks that we kind of want to get y'all thoughts on. So we'll kick it off with Undertaker's retirement, guys. Scotty P, kick us off. Let us know, like, do you believe this is it? And B, Like, how do you feel about that Boneyard match being his final match that you ever see him in?
All right, so is it the last time we're going to see Undertaker? There's just no way I could say yes to that. It's just like you were talking about earlier with his speech that he gave talking about, if Vince needs me, who knows what's going to happen. Translation, if you call me, I'm coming to WrestleMania. And he's proven that's the beauty of that documentary for all those people saying he's getting too old, he can't do it anymore. It's like, you know what? A motivated Undertaker can get his ass in shape and put on a pretty decent match.
And I would say that match was one hell of a match.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as long as he can physically do it, I see him doing it.
Yeah. Same here.
So, yeah, I don't think he's done.
Alpha, your thoughts?
I agree for the most part. Like I was saying off air, for you guys, there was a time where Undertaker wasn't the Undertaker. He was Mean Mark Callis, and he was being managed by Teddy Long, and he was running when there was more than just one united WWE, and there was a lot more promotions around. There's the word. But for someone like me, the Undertaker has been in the territory days. For me, there has never been a time where Undertaker wasn't an active wrestler.
Yeah.
For me, Undertaker has been around forever, so if this is it, which of course I don't think this is the last time we're going to see him, people never stay retired in wrestling, even people like Stone Cold Steve Austin, who never, ever have gotten back into the ring since retirement, still came back to stun a few people at Mania 32. So, this isn't the last time we're going to see Taker.
Yeah.
But if this is his final send-off, then I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know about you, but that Boneyard match fucking spanked.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty good.
It did.
It was
really
very
good.
entertaining.
Exactly. Like,
I
feel like
it did exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like with
on that show every year.
Like Undertaker is old and slow to really get into the stride of it, and I feel like with that cinematic sort of take on the match, he was able to really run that shit home.
Oh yeah. He gave him an opportunity to go out. Like he said in the documentary, he gave him an opportunity to go out looking like, hey, man, you still got a couple of matches left in the tank. And if you remember during, I believe it was part 2, he made that comment where he's like, I want to go out leaving people saying, hey, he still got it, And I think that match set him up for success in that desire. And I think that's part of the reason why I don't believe that we've seen the last of The Undertaker. I believe we've seen the last of The Undertaker for a while. I think that the next few years we're going to see with the WWE, just like the past few years, and I was mentioning this to somebody just the other day, the WWE has been interesting the past few years with zero or minimal John Cena. After seeing John Cena on every Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-view, and every single day, every single month, even the small shows, the house shows, after John Cena being the face of the company for damn near a decade, it's interesting to see the WWE without John Cena, without Roman Reigns. These were the guys that were shoved down our throat for 5, almost 10 years now, and we've gone the past 2 without him. Or not 2, but we've gone the past few months without Roman Reigns. But we've gone the better part of the past 2 years without John Cena. But then again, though, thinking back to the Attitude Era, I thought there was never going to be a day that I'd see in the WWE without The Rock. I figured I was going to watch that dude die in the ring. Well, this was early on in his career before he started.
Now, as soon as he got that taste of acting, buddy, all it took was that Scorpion King role.
I was going to say, you mean that CG Scorpion King role?
Oh, my God, that was so terrible. Good Lord. Even for, 98, that was bad. It's come on, man.
Man, no, it's funny because I just watched the first Mummy again the other day, bro.
Yeah.
So, I watched it again, so I just had to see fucking spongy-ass CG Dwayne Johnson with a scorpion tail, bro.
So good.
Oh,
freaking
well,
awesome.
It got me because it left me walking out the theater, confused. Because I was kind of happy with the rest of the movie. It was pretty good. And they set up the whole debut of the Scorpion King cool. But then that thing came out, and it was just I don't know if I should ask for my money back or if I should just be happy the rest of the movie wasn't as bad as that segment was. It got me. But, all right, so moving forward, we'll kind of jump from wrestling. We'll come back to it later. We'll take a look at, right now, there is an animated Spider-Verse sequel in the works. And I know we're all huge fans of the Spider-Verse. And Scotty P may want to cover his ears for this one because he don't want me to get his hopes up. But I've seen multiple articles from multiple sources that Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland are all in talks to do a live action Spider-Verse movie. So we may see that. I believe it'll be produced by Sony because I believe the deal worked out most of those types of movies, the Venom movies and all that, will all be produced by Sony. So I know the animated one will be, or it'll be produced by Marvel, the animated side. But guys, kick us off, Alpha. Your thoughts on this possibility of this coming to life?
Well, much like your boy Scotty, I will sit here and I will hope and fucking pray for it because I do not care what anybody says. Tobey Maguire is my Spider-Man. That is the Spider-Man. And to see him be Spider-Man in any given capacity is a dream come true. But I don't quite remember exactly, but when we were going through that whole Spider-Man might not be able to be in Endgame fiasco and all that shit was going on.
Yeah.
The whole end of that was that they came to a deal of, I think, Spider-Man would be allowed in 2 or 3 more movies after Endgame, and we had no clue what those movies might be, but all we know is for sure he was signed for 3 more movies, and it seems that the whole Endgame saga or that section of Marvel Cinematic Universe is over, so it's a possibility, and I really, really hope so. As much as I would love another animated Spider-Verse sequel, nothing will hit like a Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield crossover event, dude. We were supposed to see Mysterio as a villain in Spider-Man 4, and we never even got to see that. So, I mean, not Far From Home, but in the original Tobey Maguire trilogy, we were supposed to see Mysterio there, too. Exactly. So even then, that also leaves the door open for crossover-style villains, too, which is a whole nother fucking Pandora's box.
Well, you got to figure Venom could be one of the major villains. But Scotty P, go ahead. What were we going to say?
Oh, Jesus. No, it's just obviously the nerd service on this one is off the charts.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to find too many people that go, nah, I don't really want to see that movie happen. I mean, it's I think we can. I mean, they're going to make $1 bazillion, so I don't see any reason why it's not going to happen.
I'm just of the mindset that it would just be silly for it not to, and that's where I'm at. It's guys, come on, these decisions and this bickering it's over. You've seen with the Avengers, you've seen with the entire Infinity Saga that billions can be made off of comic book movies. Right. There is beyond an audience for it. So there should be no issues with greenlighting comic book movies at this point, especially hot properties. And that Into the Spider-Verse first movie did so well that any studio should be like, yeah, whatever, let's bring everybody back. We're going to bring people back from the dead to play parts that they played in the first movie. Come on, bring them all back. Because it's going to make you $1 billion. Bottom line, it's going to make you $1 billion. Want to say, okay, fellas. So, one of the things that I know us older cats have really been beaten down the door for is to get another shot at seeing the one and only Michael Keaton don the Batsuit. There is word now that they are in advanced talks for him to play Batman in the new Flashpoint movie that's being made by DC and Warner Brothers. So, Scotty P, since we are the elders, why don't you kick us off with your thoughts on one Mr. Keaton rejoining the DC universe?
That's brilliant, really. I mean, you think about it, Batman in '89 was the one that really kicked this whole thing off.
Yep.
Like, yeah, you had the Supermans in the '70s, but that was pretty much it until, like, Michael Keaton and Batman and Tim Burton and all the Gothic and everything, and it was awesome. Yeah. You had him, you had Nicholson. It was just a crazy lineup of people in that movie. But, yeah, totally, bring him back, absolutely. Probably one of the, I don't know, probably my favorite Batman, not named Adam West.
Not named Adam West. It was grade A. To quote the Big Bang Theory, it was grade A 100% West underneath that suit.
You need that shark repellent, bro.
Yeah.
That Adam West Batman shark repellent.
The Adam West was definitely the best. But definitely right behind him. And you know, I've said this before, and I think I've even said this to Alpha. Like, for each Batman, it's a half and half. I've only seen two come close to playing both Batman and Bruce Wayne well, and that was for me Christian Bale and Michael Keaton. Everybody else, they either did Bruce Wayne well or they were okay as Batman, but they didn't really have both. Adam West, to me, was both. He was great as Bruce Wayne. He was great as Batman. He's one that I would add to that list.
I feel like we should give Kevin Conroy a piece of that, too, actually.
Yeah, as the voice of, and then on, he was on Crisis on Infinite Earths this year. And played, played Batman. And played evil Batman, too. The Batman that actually beat Superman, but broke his legs in the process.
No shit.
Yes, Chad Batman, bro.
Now here's where I'm going.
I agree. I've said this on the show multiple times. Jack Nicholson is my hands down favorite version of Joker.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that version of the Batman in extension being portrayed again would be fucking cool. But you know what I would like just a little bit more though?
What's that?
So, you know how Robert Pattinson is going to be playing Batman this time around, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, you already know where I'm going. You already know where I'm going with this. Exactly. If we got to see Robert Pattinson as Batman Beyond and Michael Keaton as the older Bruce Wayne training him like in Batman Beyond, that would be the fucking money.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it would.
And since they're bringing the Flash movie before the Batman movie, that's what they could. That's what I could hope that they would set up in that Flash movie, is that it'll show him and then it'll show Patterson being trained to be that other kid. Was it Terry?
Terry McGinnis.
Yeah. It show him being Terry McGinnis and then Bruce being. Yeah, that would be amazing. But you know, do they ever give us amazing? Cool. Every now and then, yeah. But. You know, and to me,
not without them tweaking it to a certain degree.
True, exactly. And so, like,
they're always going to get their hands on it.
But I do have to give credit to that first Keaton Batman movie as having one of the best musical soundtracks ever written. Like, Prince killed it for that first Batman movie. And Party Man is still one of my favorite songs. And whenever I hear that song, my mind automatically jumps to the scene when Jack Nicholson as the Joker is destroying all the art in the art museum. And, yeah. Soundtrack meet perfect movie.
Shit was good, man.
Meet
Definitely.
perfect storm.
Absolutely.
Just kind of everything worked with that movie. It was just hotter than hell.
And like you said, it really launched the idea that a comic book movie can really make money. And then for some odd reason, Hollywood soured on that idea for a little bit, and then picked it back up around the time of Blade, and then it just shot through the roof after that. You know, and it was weird. I keep waiting for Hollywood to go back to thinking that like Hollywood that comic book movies aren't cool. But then you're hearing about all these different properties that are being picked up by not only Hollywood but television, and you realize, wait a minute, this shit ain't slowing down no time soon. Like, be prepared. You're in the age of the geek, and it's gonna go on for a while. We've seen the birth and death of like multiple series like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Arrow, so on and so forth. You know, throughout this, and yeah. Speaking of that, CW has this show that's running right now that's kind of a filler show in between the end of the Flash and all of that, and the beginning of the next season of those shows. I'm going to say my fuck DC moment here for a second. This is why I say fuck DC. This is one of the 101 reasons why I say fuck DC sometimes. If you want to rewatch the Crisis on Infinite Earth, right, crossover event from this season, you have to go to Netflix to watch Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, Flash, and Supergirl. But you have to jump all the way over to HBO Max in order to watch Batwoman. Look at here. You could have just put Batwoman on Netflix for this season so that way everybody don't have to jump through two apps in order to be able to watch it all. And just put Batwoman first season and then took all the DC shows and put them on HBO Max next year. That would have made more sense to me. But anyway, that's my like 105.8 reason to say fuck DC sometimes. So yeah.
Gotta make it so damn complicated.
Yeah. But yeah, so they've created this show, or they shot this show and produced the show for a very obscure comic book that some people know, some people don't, called Stargirl. The show itself has actually turned out to be pretty damn good, and I kind of see where they're going with it. And if they do go this way with it, it'll sell me on this show completely. They'll have a fan for life. Kind of like with Black Lightning. I kind of guessed where they were going with it about mid-season, and then I was just hooked for the rest of they got me until that show goes off the air. Kind of similar with Stargirl, if they go this way. First of all, it's got Luke Wilson in it. And anything with Luke Wilson is just awesome. I learned that when watching a movie called Bong Water, which if you haven't seen it, people, go watch it. It's a great movie. Bong Water, Luke Wilson, Jack Black, Laura Pepperon. Anyway, it's got Luke Wilson in it, and it's got Amy Smart. For those of you who don't know Amy Smart, she's Miss Whipped Cream Bikini Girl from Varsity Blues. And basically, it's a new take on. I don't know. Did either of you guys watch Legends? I know you did. Alpha, Scott, did you watch Legends of Tomorrow when they did the whole arc with the Justice Society of America? It was how they introduced Vixen into Legends. So anyway, basically it's a different take on the JSA. Stargirl is the daughter of Starman, who was the head of the JSA on Earth, on what is now Earth 2. Since Crisis on Infinite Earths, basically to give you the overhead of what happened on Crisis. Did you watch Crisis this year? Scotty?
Me? No.
Yeah, no.
No, I did not.
Okay, so basically what happened with Crisis is Crisis took every universe, just about, except for Gotham, which I'm still pissed about. Alpha knows about that. They took every DC universe, canonized it, collapsed it all, and made it all one universe.
Okay.
So Arrowverse, Justice League, the Justice League movies, Batman v Superman, all that exists under one universe now.
Yeah.
So, and then on the CW shows, now Supergirl, Flash, Black Lightning, what will eventually be Arrow and the Canaries and DC's Legends of Tomorrow all exist within the same universe now. Instead of them being on different Earths and shit like that, they're all in the same universe now. But then,
Fun.
of course, different universes are going to spawn off. So then you get this new Earth 2 with Stargirl. The series is pretty interesting. The JSA was originally killed by, yes, we know somebody had to think really hard and stayed up really late at night to come up with this villain name, but they're fighting the Injustice League of America. Or the Injustice Society of America. I know somebody really busted their brains coming up with that
Wow.
one.
Some galaxy.
But the thing that makes it cool is that all of the people that are in the JSA are new characters that are all kids, right? So the dynamic that they have is all the people in the Injustice Society of America are all adults. Okay? Luke Wilson is the only adult in the Justice Society of America, and Stargirl, the main girl, is his daughter. So the way I see them setting it up is this, and I'll get you guys' take on if you guys think this is cool or not. The way it seems that they're setting it up is that basically what's going to happen is that the young guy JSA is going to take out the older guys, and when they do, they've already started setting up that their children are going to rise up to take their place. So by the time you get to season 2, now you have Young Justice Society of America versus Young Injustice Society of America, and now you have a couple of seasons worth of battles. So to me, that would be the best way for them to set it up, because that seems to be what they're hinting at, the way that they've set up all these episodes so far. There's only been 8 episodes. So I'll start with Alpha. What do you think about that tape?
Okay. That is some first off, that is some good ass forward thinking, my dude. But that would I'm definitely not opposed to that.
Okay.
I feel like in the superhero market, especially in the TV shows, we've covered what? We've talked about Gotham, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, Flash. We've talked about, I think, Cloak and Dagger very sparsely. We've gone through the whole pantheon, right?
Marvel Runaways.
And for the most part, yeah, exactly. Like even on the side of Marvel, we've been hitting like the Runaways, and even like if you want to consider Umbrella Academy, even with that little blanket of that stuff, you can, I guess.
Yeah.
But we've talked about a lot of shit, and I feel like we've seen a lot of the same shit, not in terms of substance, but in terms of the tone that they set. And Stargirl, I feel like, does a very good job of feeling different from all that.
Yeah.
And that's part of why I like its whole style. But I think that would be really cool because that does, again, set it apart from everything else. You have Flash that plays with a lot of, like, time and multi-dimensional type of shit. And having a whole team go against each other like that is classic DC style, Anytime that they've hit the big red restart button, you usually see the Justice League go against another version of themselves,
Yeah.
So this is an interesting way to do without seeing the same heroes fight the same mirrored versions that we've already seen,
Pretty much, yeah. And yeah, it's just a concept that I think would work with today's, like I said, and you look at the audience that they're looking at on the CW, which is young teenagers, to young adults. So yeah, it fits. Scotty P, any thoughts?
I mean, I'm not much of a DC guy, so I don't really have a whole lot of context for this. But your idea sounds like like you said, the most forward-thinking idea that you would do to advance like potentially multiple years of plot lines and stories. But I mean, these are TV executives and writers we're talking about here, so they're probably not going to do what. Yeah, who knows what the hell they're going to come up with? But I guarantee whatever they do, your idea would probably be better.
It'll be better. I was going to say, actually what's funny is if you go on to Reddit and you read a lot of these fan theories and fan thoughts, sometimes what they come up with is sometimes like 10 times better. It's like, wow, dude, that would have made it a whole new movie, or that would have made it a whole different show. Like for instance, here's just another side pop culture moment. I found out a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know if I mentioned it on this show with Alpha or not, or if I did it with Kari, but okay, if you've ever watched The Big Bang Theory, okay, then you know that Kaylee Kuko has been Penny from pretty much day one. Well, we all, of course, know that everybody, that different roles people audition for, etc. what I found out that was interesting and made me think differently was if you've ever watched the show and you've seen the girl that Raj dates, I forget the name of the actress, but she was on Scrubs and she does like little music skits and stuff like that with her blonde friend. But she played Raj's girlfriend that had like social anxiety and so on and so forth. But that she tried out for the role of Penny. And once again, my mind just hearing that thought, well, how would the show have been different? And you think about it from this angle. The reason why the Big Bang Theory works is because Penny is that cheerleader to the nerds. Okay, she's that beautiful girl. That girl wouldn't have really been, because she looks, I hate to say this because she's beautiful, but she looks too homely. Like, she would be the girl that would be chasing after those nerds like Leonard and Howard. It would change that whole dynamic of the show, which is kind of the core dynamic of the show.
So it'd make for like a completely different show. Like, where they're ducking her instead of like fawning over her.
Exactly. Yeah. And so like, yeah, it was just really interesting. And like I said, it's just an interesting way to think about shows when you hear about certain people getting cast for roles, because you think about if they don't cast any, well, there's plenty of other people they could have chose outside of Kaylee Kuko, but she kind of fit that part.
You know what though? I mean, let's get realistic. Option B there was probably the more realistic one and probably would have been actually funnier.
Yeah, probably.
Just some nerd that the nerds won't even touch.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah. I heard something similar though recently. I heard that Brie Larson had actually auditioned for a role in Star Wars, and she was close to either getting the role of Rey or getting the role of Jyn Erso from Rogue One.
Wow. That definitely changes the
look. It's just weird to think about. Exactly. Like, imagine what that would look like, right?
Yeah.
All right. So kind of last DC subject we're going to dive into, or last of two DC subjects we're going to dive into. For those of you who don't know.
The last of two.
The last of two. No. We'll say one of the last two. There you go. That's a better way of saying it. For those of you who don't know, the lovely actress Ruby Rose has stepped aside from the role of Kate Kane as Batwoman. There's going to be a new woman playing Batwoman. And before you get all up in your panties and start talking about, well, how's she going to play? All of a sudden we got a different looking Kate Kane. Nah, the CW execs have said, fuck all that. We're just going to give you a brand new character. Kate Kane disappeared the same way that Bruce Wayne disappeared. If I was Gotham, I would have an identity complex because all these superheroes just keep leaving and disappearing for no fucking reason, just gone. Evidently, that's going to be a mystery of season 2 is why Kate Kane all of a sudden just disappeared. But they're bringing in a new woman whose name is Javisa Leslie. You may know her from God Friended Me. And she's going to be taking over the character. They haven't given the name of the character yet, but she's going to be taking over the character that will, by the end of next season, be Batwoman. So I'm assuming that she'll end up hooking up with not Lucius, but what was his son's name in the show? Damn it, I forgot the boy's name. But she'll end up hooking up with the Fox boy. Morgan Freeman's son. That's what I keep calling him, because Morgan Freeman is always Lucius Fox to me. It don't matter how many different actors play Lucius Fox.
Freeman's son.
Morgan Freeman is Lucius Fox. Everybody else is Morgan Freeman's son. Dude from Gotham, that's awesome. Morgan Freeman's son. Even though he was Lucius Fox too, he's still Morgan Freeman's son.
No, son, Lucius Fox. Morgan Freeman is not Lucius Fox. Lucius Fox is Morgan Freeman.
There you go.
Right.
It's his secret identity.
It's a Chuck Norris kind of thing.
Yep. Now they did keep true with Javisa Leslie being another. I guess she identifies as bi, so she's another LGBTQ. So they're not going to lose that angle out of the Batwoman series. And I was even one to say, I had a coworker at work the other day tell me, he's like, dude, I can't get into Batwoman. And I'm like, bro, just sit through the whole season. Trust me. He's like, man, I just can't get into it. I was like, let me ask you a question. I was like, and I don't mean this in a negative manner, and I don't mean this as you being homophobic, but is it just a little bit too lesbian-y for you? And he was like, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, I feel you. Because, like, the first few episodes, I was just like, okay, I get it. She's gay. Like we don't need to cover this 18 times a fucking
Why do
episode.
they do that every time?
I'm like, oh man, and it was
lesbian woman. That's a lesbian. Goes out and does lesbian things.
You know, and it's just like I'm like, and so, but I got what they were trying to do. Like they were trying to show, but but it got on my nerves, and so I just told them I was like, just get through the first few episodes, and you'll see that they lighten up on that and start focusing more on the Batwoman versus Red Alice, which I'm really sad we won't see that whole storyline come to full fruition with them two being sisters. Unless this is going to be some biracial, like, stepsister from somewhere. Daddy was jacking around or something. I don't know. And he's a part of the Kane family, too. I don't know. Or she's a part of the Kane family,
Papa Dudley, bro.
Papa Dudley. Speaking of that, all right, let's
jump. You know what I'm
talking
about, right?
Yeah. Okay, so sorry. No. We're going to hit this last DC thing, and we're going to jump into wrestling, and we're going to talk some good old wrestling. Because I meant, especially Scotty P, I meant to ask you about the debut of the FTW belt.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You mean the re-debut?
Yeah. So
yes.
We'll get to that after the break. All right. So last thing, just quick thoughts. Titans. I don't know if you guys have managed to see it. It was on DC Universe. I believe they just got done with their second season. Kind of reminds me of what Stargirl is doing on the CW. Brought in a lot of the teenage superheroes that existed within the DC universe, but it looks like it may need a new home because word has it that the DC Universe app is basically going to eventually become an archive of all the DC comic books, and it's not supposed to have anything original or video being aired on it because they've moved Harley Quinn and Doom Patrol both over to HBO Max. So Titans is the last remaining live-action show on DC Universe. So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts of what they should do with Titans?
Real fast, I just want to say, like, why didn't anybody tell me that Brendan Fraser is in Doom Patrol? Like, I didn't know that this whole time.
I did not know that. What?
Really?
Yes.
He's a big metal guy.
Oh, yes, I have to watch now.
Oh, yeah, I found out that was Brendan Fraser last week, and I lost my shit, dude.
That's awesome. Boy, I was wondering. But, I was just about to buy Encino Man, too.
Oh, hell no.
Right?
I love that movie. Wheezing the Jitters. Oh, Scotty, you want to talk about, oh, my God, I saw a picture on Facebook today. It was one of those, if you don't know who this is and it really ain't a country singer, then you don't know country music. But it was Pauly Shore from Son-in-Law. The scene when he's sitting in the back of the pickup truck.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
that's
man.
Awesome as hell.
Oh, it was hilarious. I was just like, my goodness. Not Mr. Son-in-Law himself. That man made a stretch of, like, movies that were actually pretty decent. Like, as
I'll tell you, right? He was on fire for a minute there.
Yeah.
Like, he was just getting movie deals left and right. Like, what is going on right now?
Oh, speaking of, I don't know if I brought this up. Did you guys hear that Comedy Central is bringing back Beavis and Butthead?
Yes, I did hear that.
For a new season, directed by Mike Judge himself.
Lord.
I love it.
Yep.
Oh,
I will be interested to see what he has to say.
Oh, yes. But, okay, no, here's the key thing about it. And I read this comment in one of the comment sections on one of the articles I was reading about it. They were like, look, dude, if they're going to bring it back, they got to bring back the segments with them sitting there mocking music videos. Because that was like the heart and soul of the show. You can't bring it back without bringing that back.
Right.
You know?
No, there's no show without that. Don't just give us, like, the cartoon part.
Like, the movie was great and all, but no.
No, you need that, like, Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing that they do to the music videos. It's just
breaking the
perfect.
Law. Breaking the law. Man, I remember when I got my first VCR. Like, my mom handed me down her VCR because she just wanted to buy a new one. And I remember I got my first VCR, and the first thing I did was set it to record 7 o'clock on MTV nightly, because that was my Beavis and Butthead thread. And I'd sit there and
That's
rewatch
awesome.
them sons of bitches over and over and over, man. I tell you, yeah. I actually had, for a little bit before I lost the tape, the original version of the fire episode. Because remember, they altered it because that little boy set his house on fire.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, I had the original version on tape, and I lost the fucking tape. Like, of him sitting there going, fire, fire, fire. Oh.
No.
Yes, but now...
Isn't that just like a great commentary on 2020, though, where it's like Mike Judge is sitting around going, I think I need to bring Beavis and Butthead back.
You know, we got some shit to talk
Like,
about.
that's pretty on brand for 2020 right there.
At least something good can come out of this year.
Yeah.
God, right? No shit.
It's Comedy Central pushing the big red button to bring back Mike Judge.
Yes. Oh, man. Now they just need
Got
to
to bring
back
the
Dave
big guns,
Chappelle.
bro.
Drop some big fat pile of cash in front of them when they hit the button.
Dude. All right, man. So this is last subject for pop culture before we switch it over to wrestling. I don't know, Scotty. I don't know if you've rewatched it recently. I know me and Alpha have, but Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't know if you watched it when it was originally on. I'm pretty sure. Remember you telling me you was a fan.
Yeah, for sure.
Just talking about, man, like that show. Like, I was okay. It triggered a memory a couple of weeks ago, when I was right before I did a show with Alpha. I was flipping through. I'm on this site called Avatar State, right, on Facebook, and I'm flipping through, and I look down and I see this thing, and it shows all of the characters from Avatar, except they're all older. Sokka's older, Zuko's older, Mei's older. You know, the Avatar's older. Like, they all look like they're in their like mid-20s, early 30s. And somebody was like, I love Legend of Korra and all, but this was the sequel series that I wanted. And I kept thinking about it, and it just got me thinking about the show and rewatching the development of the characters, etc. And I could watch that show a million times and would just feel the same goosebumps in every scene, every single time that I watch it.
Yeah. Aang is just the perfect peaceful badass, you know?
Man,
right?
that scene, I just watched the finale like day before yesterday. And that scene when the Fire Lord spitting the fire at him, and then he all of a sudden hits him with the big one, and it busts through everything, and his back touches that rock.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you done fucked up now. Oh, look what you did.
You know, and even an even more subtle one was when they had to go to the school in the Fire Nation or something. And some kid was picking on him and trying to start a fight, and Aang's like, whatever, bitch, come at me. And he just sat there and just quietly, with his hands behind his back, ducked every move the kid made, and then bumps him with his ass at the end. It's the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen in my life.
He's smiling the whole time.
And he's smiling. He's just smiling at him. Like, what up?
Oh, man. Yeah.
No, Aang is awesome as hell. But I'm still a Sokka guy somehow.
No, really. Like, and you know, I always hate to say this. Like, I think that Sokka gets the bigger push because he's the more relatable character. You know, like most people
he's
know
comedy relief.
Yeah, most people know that the likelihood of them ending up in that universe as a bender is slim to none. So 9 chances out of 10, you're going to be Sokka before you're anybody else. You know?
Sure.
And I'm sorry, this is something that I noticed. Did you notice that everybody in the Fire Nation was a bender, but in the other nations it wasn't like that? Some people were benders and some people weren't. But like every motherfucker in the Fire Nation was a bender?
Yeah,
that's the funny part, because like
the militaristic angle, where just the police state that makes you learn your firebending skills.
Oh man, but yeah, and then I was mentioning, and I'll let you get in right now, Alpha. I was mentioning to my own mother, the significance of like the dude with the cabbage cart in the second season. The dude that pops up like 8 times, and every time somebody's fucking up his cabbage cart. Like, my mom's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Mom,
that's right."
It's just this random character for you to connect with. Like, you just be about the 5th time you see this dude, you're just like, "Damn, dude, this dude's cart again." Like, damn. Poor dude. Like, can you just not catch a break? How much inventory have you lost to this little boy and his friends? Like, just trouncing by you. But anyway.
And that's the man, not even the cabbages.
And I tell you right now, we all wish we had an Uncle Iroh, huh?
Really don't.
Oh, yeah.
Iroh is mad.
It's the ultimate heel conversion when you think about it.
Yep.
It's a long play.
He starts out. And what's funny is that really, if you watch it, he's never the bad guy. He always does it. He's siding with the bad guys at one point, but he always does the right thing when it boils down to it. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, he's the anti-hero. And hey, can't nobody tell me that the sequence with him in jail, when when he was doing the push-ups and doing the claps, and then the guard came up and he opened up the thing and he's like sitting there clapping at the air, making dude think he's crazy. I was like, yeah, that's my dog right there. But go on, Alpha. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. I love this shit. But no, you're right. It's just a show you can watch over and over again, right? Like, I grew up on it, and I just still watch the whole thing through again just because it's just that damn good. Mm-hmm. And it's the little moments, like the Cabbage Dude, mixed alongside with the big events that really make that show what it is. I didn't know that show won as many awards as it did up until I was really starting to look into it.
Yeah.
But like it's like, everyone gets chills when they hear Iroh sing that song about his dead son. And that moment is still just as impactful always as like the final fight with Azula, where you see her go absolute bonkers, right?
Yeah. Like like with Azula, like she was the. You know how you have sympathetic crazy people? Azula was that. Like
yeah.
She was batshit crazy, but by the end of the series, you genuinely felt for her. Like, I was just like, damn, dude. Like, if you weren't a crazy bitch, like, because like, okay, here's a prime example. The episode, the episode when they go to the party on Fire Island, right? Now, not only does that really show you Azula, but there's an Azula moment in there. And I use Azula twice just to emphasize exactly how Azula this moment was. The scene when they're all sharing like their personal feelings and they're having their moments in front of the fire. And it's kind of like that Breakfast Club moment, right? And Azula's sitting there and she's like, yeah. And she all of a sudden looks hella deeply into the fire and she's like, my own mother thought I was a monster. And she says it all deep. And then she looks up and she goes, well, she was right, but, it still hurt. And I was just like, this crazy bitch. Like, that's what made her so great, is she knew she was crazy. And it just didn't
embrace the hell out of it.
And it was just that moment. Like, I just happened, like, I was watching it, or I just happened to wake up first thing in the morning, was laying in bed, and was just like, let me watch a couple more episodes of Avatar. And came across that episode, and I was like, no, did she really just, and I rewound it again. That bitch really just said, she was right, but it still hurt, your own mother. And I'm like, anyway.
Sociopath.
Yeah, sociopath to the fullest extent. But that episode right there really gave you some heart into those particular characters from the villain side of the story. You know what I'm saying? Like, because to watch Azula struggle to be around a guy that she likes was like kind of awkward. Like, it was even awkward for me as the viewer watching her like snap and go crazy because the dude's like, hey, I kind of like you. And she's like, we will be the strongest couple ever. He's like, yeah, on that note, I got to go. Like, I'll take it. Thanks for the early signal.
Oh, right. Holy shit. If only they all came with warning signals like that. Oh, my God. So many averted disasters.
Are that obvious.
Hey, man,
Holy
unfortunately,
shit, right?
with my track record in women, I'd have probably looked at her and been like, yeah, baby, I love your passion. Let's do it.
Right. Whatever. That's kind of awesome. Oh, Jesus. Let's do this.
Oh man, but yeah, nah, man, like that. Those little scenes are what made Avatar one of the things that I've said over and over again. I've had people disagree with me on this, and they can disagree with me all they want, but they'll never change my mind. That it's literally one of the most well-written animated series I've ever seen in my life, from beginning to end. Opening to close, It was just one of the most well-written things. The way they developed all the characters, the cool ways that they developed the bending powers. Like I caught the episode the other day where Katara learns to blood bend, which for the longest time I just thought was one of the coolest fucking things I'd ever seen in my life. Was fucking blood bending. Like,
right.
Like y'all came up with
nothing touches metal bending, bro.
Yeah. Toph with metal bending is another one. Like, and I would, and once again, this is where seeing the series with them older would have come into play, because I would have loved to seen the other things that she developed beyond metal bending. You know what I'm saying? Like moving forward, because if you look out on the internet, there are literal trees, like Venn diagram trees of all the different ways that the bending powers can bend off into different things and so on and so forth that go beyond what the show showed us.
I guess this begs the question that if you had to pick one, which one would you pick?
Ooh. I would have to say water, only because water is the source of all life. So, like, you can literally find water in anything.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so like water.
I've always been a big. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish up.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no, I was just saying, like, yeah, that's just it. Like, just water is in everything. Like, that was kind of the essence of what a lot of what they were saying with Katara's powers, is that literally you can control anything in any. It's water. It's there. Doesn't matter where you're at. It's there. The bitch used her sweat to cut through a fucking wooden block. You know, like, water's everywhere. Like, can't get much tighter than that. But anyway, go ahead. What were you saying, Alpha?
Right. I don't know. I've always been all about earthbending. Something about that is just raw as hell, and especially like how it all connects, like your mindset too. How like being an earthbender is all about just taking everything like bullheaded style. I've always dug that.
I am 100% in agreement with that. Earthbending all the way. It feels very Incredible Hulky, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Where it's like you just pick up a hunk of the ground and throw it at somebody, or you can turn it into a giant fist and drop it on their head just by thinking about it. It's like, and there's ground, I don't know, literally everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. It's kind of a similar thing with waterbending. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like not even including sand bending and shit like that too, right?
Right.
Yeah. And see, once again, I can't argue against earthbending. Like I really couldn't argue against air or fire bending. Like, only difference with fire, fire is that fire is extremely dangerous from the sense of, like, you misfire one thing in one direction and you could literally kill like 50 people. Like that's the only thing I would like. Like, if I misfire with some, odds are, unless it's ice daggers, like if I misfire with some, odds are like people are just getting wet, like, and they're just kind of uncomfortable. But yeah, like fire is a little bit dangerous in that particular sense. But the show just, like I said, it made you want to be a part of that world. And another thing that I also loved about the show was when I went and watched a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff on it, learning that each and every one of the bending styles was related back to an actual real life martial art. The movements of the bending style related back to real life martial arts. Like, I think Wushu was in there. There's a different form of Kung Fu in there as well. Taekwondo was one. Like, I forget which arts tied to specifically which bending arts, but that was one of the things that I found cool about it. But let's talk a little bit before we go about the significance of.
Real quick.
Yeah, what's up?
Real fast, fun fact, I did Taekwondo for like damn near a decade, bro. That's my shit.
Hell yeah. Like, I've studied multiple.
My humble brag.
Done some Okinawan Kenpo, some Shoshu Kung Fu for a little bit. Nothing really major for too long. But just the fact that they grounded that in reality like that is what made it, like, once again, an even more relatable universe and world. But let's talk. One of the last things we'll talk about it is at the end, the significance of Aang taking away, which was, by the way, the biggest twist, one of the best twists you could ever have. You had this nigga for 3 episodes trying to figure out how the hell he could not kill this fool, and at the end, he just says, you know what, Psst, you can't bend anymore. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you won't use it responsibly. You're done. And once again, another reason to see the series of them growing up, of Aang just literally flying around and just taking people's bending powers. Like, evil people rise up, oh, I'm going to take over. No.
No, you're not.
No, just stop.
You're going to get stronger.
So, but like there was a significance to that of that as much as violence was the answer to fighting him, violence wasn't necessarily the answer to beating him. And once again, that's where those are messages that hit some kids and went over to other kids' heads, but they still liked the cool battle that they saw. As it went through, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
The lion turtle idea, like when that was all revealed the very first time I ever watched that, my jaw hit the floor. Like when they did that flashback and showed the turtle showing him how to like take it, I was like, oh, he's
right.
Oh,
that was pretty badass.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more good storytelling by that show. They set that shit up perfectly.
They did. Because they literally left you feeling, even going into the battle, they left you as the viewer feeling there was no other way. Fire Lord Ozai is this asshole, or Phoenix Lord, whatever he was calling himself by the end.
Right? Yeah, whatever it was.
Is this complete asshole, and you're like, well, fuck it, dude, you gotta kill him. Like, dude, you got to. It's the only way all this shit's gonna end. And then they give you like, no, there's another way. And it was just like, all you writers, you got me good on that one. So I don't know if the live action, speaking of, there's supposed to be a live action coming to Netflix. And the original showrunners from the original show and the writers are on board with the live action remake.
Okay.
So we're hoping, I'm hoping that if you're not going to give me a shot-for-shot live action remake of the original series, then give me the continuation that picks up where the series left off and ends kind of like short of Legend of Korra.
Right? Yeah, do like the Dragon Ball Z thing.
Yeah.
They're slightly older.
Yeah, exactly. And like you can get
it's a model that's worked pretty well in Japan.
Exactly. Pretty much. And I'm pretty sure Fire Lord Ozai wasn't the only, like, I'm pretty sure as soon as Fire Lord Ozai went away, there was nobody else out there like Fire Nation needs to run shit. So I'm pretty sure there were some other people for Aang and them to go deal with. So I'm pretty sure there's some stories there, that can be used. But yeah. But totally. Like that's only if I say
there's a lot of.
Go ahead.
There's a lot of time to fill between Legend of Korra and the end of Avatar: The Last Airbender. So there's definitely all that room for something like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so and so it's one of those type of things where there's so much more that they can do with that show, and I just hope that they give us all what, like, I hate to say it like this, to make a comparison, Incredibles 2 turned out to be pretty much everything I thought it was going to be after the wait that we had to wait for. What was it, like 12 years between the first one and the second one?
Yeah.
But it was...
that was quite the gap.
Yeah, but it was pretty much everything I expected it to be. It was everything that I wanted the sequel to be, that I didn't even know I wanted the sequel to be, So I'm hoping that this live action is, because I banished that live action bullshit that M. Night Shyamalan put out there from my memory and refuse to ever see it again. I will watch the blue avatars of James Cameron before I ever watch that bullshit again. And once again, it was just horrible storytelling. Everything was set up for you. Movie 1 should have been book 1. Movie 2 should have been book 2.
Oh my God. There's an amazing supercut of people walking out of the premiere of The Last Airbender, and all of just going, sus.
Yep.
It's like 15 straight people going, yeah, it sucked. It sucked. It was terrible. Like, oh, man.
It starts pissing you off the minute they start pronouncing his name wrong.
God.
They keep going, Ong, it's Aang. The show told you it was Aang. Why do you keep calling this boy Ong?
I never saw it. They called him Ong?
Yes. They call him Ong from the beginning of the movie. And then it's stupid shit. Like they try to recreate the whole sequence that happens. Okay, you remember the one episode that George Takei voiced the leader of that prison? The Earth Kingdom prison where they took all the people to.
Yeah,
Katara goes to. They tried to basically redo that entire scene, but not have it take place on an oil on a like rig out in the middle of the sea. And it's just like, okay, like stop trying to move shit around, and if you're not gonna give me a shot for shot remake, just stop, because this is just horrible. And like the acting was horrible. And about the only good thing about it was that the little boy who played Aang actually studied. It was an actual Taekwondo master. He was like a 16-year-old Taekwondo master. So he made the movements look great. But that was about the only good thing about the movie. Other than that, the rest of it was just shit.
It's literally
that's so perfect though.
After they had finished the Rise of Skywalker, and Kathleen Kennedy was like, we had no source material to work on, and they had a litany of fucking comics just sitting there untouched. This is just like that.
Pretty much.
No source material.
Yeah,
except for all these books and these comic books.
It literally upset me watching it. Like I was just like, I'm gonna sit here because I paid $15 for this ticket, but damn it.
I know it's like picturing. It's like in the first, like you sit down, you're watching the movie. In the first 5 minutes, they go, "Oh!" It's like you got to be fucking kidding me. They're already getting this movie wrong. It took you less than 5 minutes to fuck this up.
And you know what made it hurt even worse was going into seeing the movie, hearing all the interviews with M. Night Shyamalan talking about how much he loved the original product, and he loved the series. He was inspired to do the movie because he was watching it with his daughter, and I'm like, oh, sounds to me like he's gonna do it justice. And yeah, about 5 minutes in, I'm like, fuck you, my M. Night Shyamalan, fuck you.
He hit you with an ong in the first 5 goddamn minutes. Unbelievable.
No, my favorite meme. I think you saw it on my Facebook page, but my favorite meme is of this cat. It's the scene from Black Panther. When they bring the white dude there and he's trying to bow to him, he's like, "We do not do that here." And across the top of the meme it said, when your friends say they want to watch Avatar, and then all of a sudden you see all these blue people come on the screen, we do not do that. No, sorry, that was the wrong one. He said when my friends asked to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender live action movie, he's like, we don't do that here. The other one was the dude from whatchamacallit talking about, you have insulted my family, my honor. And it was just like, yeah, don't ever show me that shit again. Fuck James Cameron too. He copyrighted the name. Like, yeah, but needless to say, Avatar's going to have a new impact with the live action show and all that. It's going to have a new impact on a whole new generation of kids that are going to get to watch it and understand and learn the lessons from it and so on and so forth. So, like, I'm just glad that they're bringing it back. It's always going to be a timeless classic for me. I don't deny I bootlegged the series a long time ago, so I'll have it forever. Because, sorry, I'm not paying $45 a fucking season for Avatar: The Last Airbender. I love the series, but I'm not paying $45 fucking a season. Shit, even to buy it on fucking Amazon, just the digital copies is $35 a season. Fuck you. You ain't getting that much money out of it.
Damn, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Hell no, sir. No.
The one thing, my one rule with Amazon has been this: I refuse to spend
pirate
anything.
Time, bro.
I refuse to spend anything over $19 for a single season of any TV show. That I don't care how new or old it is. I refuse to spend anything over that. If you're trying to charge me $24, $25, fuck you. The only seasons that I've bought that were that much, somebody put cash in my pocket. I put the cash in the bank and bought the season for them, but I get to keep it because it's on my Amazon account. And that was the 3 seasons of Ink Master that I bought. Other than that, I haven't paid anything over like $9-10 for a season of anything that I own.
Not bad. Good way to go at it.
Shit. But anyway, all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to take a quick commercial break real quick, and then we're going to come back and talk a little wrestling. We're going to talk a little FTW belt, a little FyterFest, a little Keith Lee double champion, whoop, whoop, bask in his glory. Yeah, you're listening to the Cheap Pop Podcast, baby. You're listening to the Cheap Pop Podcast right here on the 4Aces Presents Radio Network. Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and wherever you may find your favorite podcasts.
Hey listener, Dutch here from Voice from the Underground, the podcast. My co-host and I want to invite you to check out our little corner of the podcast verse. At Voice from the Underground, we talk about all the crazy happening around us and try to make a little bit of sense out of the nonsense with little to no results. If the idea of hearing three semi-intelligent, outspoken nerds talk about politics, social issues, current events, sports, movies, pretty much anything that we decide to talk about because, well, it's our show, appeals to you, grab your shovel and come on down to the underground, and then consult a qualified psychotherapist. Find us wherever you get your podcasts, just not where you buy your weed.
Voice from the Underground.
So, what's up? Steve Fingerstyles here, the host of the podcast, spelled DA, of course. Tune in each and every week to hear what pisses me off, what angers me, what I make fun of, and of course, my crazy rants. I also have incompetent co-hosts, cool guests, and a silent producer that sucks. So what more do you need from a podcast? You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and the Pod Bros Network. Peace.
From the galactic depths of the comic book universe comes the ghosts of the stratosphere, ready to galvanize and energize your mind with the latest of comic book news and reviews. And why are you stopping me? Yes, that's much better. Hi, this is Andy Larson for Ghosts of the Stratosphere. Join me every week along with my co-hosts Rob Stewart and Chad Smith, as well as a cavalcade of fantastic comic book guests, as we dish out heaping helpings of the greatest and latest of comic book news and reviews. New shows posted every Tuesday with bonus shows every first Friday of the month. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher under Ghosts of the Stratosphere, as well as on our website, www.gotstratosphere.com. Hope to see you soon, folks.
All right, and we are back.
Yeah, exactly.
To talk a little wrestling. What were you going to say, boss?
Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Yeah, so what we were just to cue y'all into what we were talking about off air right quick. We were talking about the fact that that basically the past 3 weeks, the Great American Bash went head-to-head with FyterFest, and then NXT went head-to-head with Dynamite. In the past 3 weeks, NXT has won. Well, since then, all I've heard out of because I kind of keep track of both camps, all I've heard out of AEW camp is excuses about how they didn't win the overall viewers, but they won the demographic, the 19 or 17 to 49 demographic. And that's all that really matters. People look.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. People look. Really, ratings at this point don't matter at all. I'll prove it to you. SmackDown was doing barely 1 million, if not a peak 1.5 million viewers the previous 6 months leading into the Fox when the Fox deal was signed. And Fox still signed to bring WWE over because of the WWE brand name. SmackDown wasn't killing it in ratings on USA. It wasn't. Not in the Tuesday time slot, not in the Friday time slot. It wasn't killing it. But yet they still got Fox to buy in to SmackDown to bring it over to the main network. So really, ratings matter to an extent. But not as much as some wrestling fans would like them to. You know, I would say, considering both AEW and NXT this week, did Scotty P. There you go. Yeah, go ahead.
I will never understand the whole why we have to be at rivalry between like NXT and AEW. What is the point of all that? like, back in our old days, we had, oh my God, so much wrestling to watch. We had Nitro, Raw, Thunder, and SmackDown.
Yep.
And we watched all of it.
Yep.
Sure, you acknowledge that WCW sucked, but, you still watched it.
Yep.
So it's like, why can't we all just be wrestling fans?
And that's the sentiment that I hear the most. And even from Alpha's point of view, he even says the same thing. Like, he appreciates having both. And my whole thing is I don't think there is a Wednesday Night War. Because I think the WWE does do some counter programming to AEW, like this week. I honestly think that the Keith Lee Adam Cole match, the result of that match, a little bit of that had to do with the fact that they initially expected Moxley to be facing Brian Cage for the AEW championship on FyterFest, but that match didn't happen because of COVID-19, blah, 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 blah. But
yeah.
But you did end up getting the match that we got at FyterFest. But I think that people want it to be, because unfortunately, when AEW came out, there was this sentiment. There was a sentiment of people didn't want to. Hold on one second. All right, just getting some things fixed here, y'all. All right, there we go. All right, so there was some counter programming going on there. Don't get me wrong. Nobody can convince me that the fact that Great American Bash took place on the same 2 nights as FyterFest was a coincidence. No, that was the way it was planned. It's counter programming. But as far as like both of them trying to put each other out of business, I don't think it's like that. I don't think Triple H sees it like that. And being that Triple H runs the show that Dynamite goes up against, I think he sees it as healthy competition, the same way that the Monday Night Wars were. Like, it's just healthy competition. But I think AEW fans, not AEW, I don't think Cody Rhodes thinks that they're gonna put WWE out of business. But so many AEW fans are anti-WWE because they're people that used to watch and don't watch anymore because they think the product is blah 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 blah. So because of that, they're in a position where all they do is talk shit about WWE. And so any way that they can try to say that AEW is better, they're going to say. And so when I listen to them talk about some of the matches that I've seen in AEW and they go, oh, this is better than anything that WWE's put on in the past 20 years, it makes me want to reach through a keyboard and slap somebody. Are you really telling me this match that took place on AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, July 8th, is better than Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania? I don't think so. Is better than Triple H versus Taker at WrestleMania? I don't think so. It's better than Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania in Santa Clara. I don't think so.
Nope.
So anyway,
it makes no sense. I don't get it at all. Why wouldn't you want all of it to be good?
Exactly. The better
because
it is,
then they have to compete even harder.
Yep. And NXT was already a great product, but it's going to be an even better product the better that AEW gets and the more of a threat that AEW becomes. Alpha, your thoughts on the Wednesday Night Wars?
Yeah, it's pretty much as it is as it always been. Like I'm always happy to have more wrestling. I'm not going to complain that I have more of a product to watch. And of course, I'm all about competition because that really does bring out the best, especially in a wrestling environment. In a competitive place. But like from what I've seen, it's like people will look at the ratings and take that as a quality of the show scale when it's not even slightly like that.
Exactly.
And you can't take numbers like that. Wrestling, for one, like all fucking things, is subjective. Everyone's going to have a different opinion on it. And two, logistics like that, it doesn't change any bearing. I've never heard anyone in my whole life ever go to like Rotten Tomatoes and see a critic score of a movie and that be the defining factor on whether they watch a movie or not. Yeah. And if you do that, I want you to get help because you're not watching good movies then, bro.
You're missing out on some good shit.
Exactly, but you can't take logistics so heavily like that. Like you're saying, that's not a good measure of the show at all. Yeah. But aside from that, I'm all about competition. Like, of course, you cannot say that the Great American Bash was not placed like this for counter programming. NXT never ever. Exactly, NXT never ever runs 2-day things like this, and not only that, but they run the Great American Bash specifically. Yeah. Which is not just any pay-per-view; it's the one that Dusty Rhodes
yeah. Which, by the way, let me go off on a small tangent here. So,
no, please go ahead, please.
Your thoughts, gentlemen, on the move by Vincent, middle name Petty Kennedy McMahon, and his. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Did we re-up that trademark? Yeah. Sorry about that, Cody. Sorry about that. Yeah. You can't use that again for a while. My bad. We re-upped that. My bad.
Like, oh, yeah. It's the most Vince shit you could possibly imagine.
There was no reason
picture
for
of
that.
Just Evil sitting at his desk going, "Hella got over on him." That was funny.
Oh man. Because I did notice when he came
out, the evil emperor's like, "Laugh with me."
Yes, exactly. the secretary is sitting there all nervous. He's like, Vince,
like Dr. Evil scene. They're all like,
oh man.
You can't tell me that was an accident. It's like, oh yeah, it's your daddy's pay-per-view, baby.
And did you read the article where Cody talked about the fact that I guess that pay-per-view was made specifically for him? And Starrcade was made specifically for his sister.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Oh man,
that's exactly right.
Well, like I said, sometimes Vince can be petty. Like I don't think Vince wakes up in the morning and goes, "What is AEW doing?" Like we have to crush AEW. But I think Vince has an intern and he's like, "Yeah, watch that Dynamite show. Tell me if anything interesting happens." I do think Vince keeps tabs on it. But I also think there's a part of Vince that supports Cody in what he's doing. Right. Partially because he knows that even backed by and here's the thing that and I've said this multiple times on the show as well. People need to get over this. There's a billionaire backing AEW. Understand.
Right.
The father,
it's a multi-billionaire backing WWE.
Right. Well, no, the father, Sahid Khan,
that's a trillionaire.
Is a billionaire, right? Is a billionaire. Right. His son, yes, is a part of that empire. But trust me, his son has a leash with how much money he can spend trying to go up against Vince and fund this company. Like, Vince doesn't have a limit with how much he's willing to spend in the WWE. It's his company. It's generating billions. So he can put billions into it if he wants to. But trust me, there is a limitation.
Has a pink yacht named Sexy Bitch. He's untouchable.
Exactly. But trust me, there is a limitation. There, at some point, Sahid's like, "Nah, Tony, you got to stop writing checks. Nah, stop." like I love your little wrestling project and all.
You think that AEW is probably a write-off to that dude? Are you kidding me? Do you think he even feels it?
Well, no, I don't think he feels it. I don't think he feels it. I don't think he feels it like that. But I also don't think Tony has a blank check to work with. Like, I think this is an investment that he convinced his father to make. You know what I'm saying? And he convinced his father to pair with him and make. And I think his father's like, okay, yeah, and as long as it's making me money, we're cool. But if things start struggling, no, you're not going to go off and put millions upon hundreds of millions into this just to try to keep it going. Like, I think if AEW starts to flounder, we're going to see AEW go under. I think Sahid's going to pull the plug. But as long as AEW is making money and rising in popularity, I think that he'll keep pumping money into it. But
I don't think he cares.
You don't think so?
I think that that dude owns a football team and a Premier League team, like a good one. Yeah. He's AEW is a drop in the bucket to him. Yeah. I mean, at a minimum, it's a third business that he gets to use for tax purposes. Look at all the losses I incurred here.
True. True, it does offset if he's making big profits elsewhere. True. Oh, man.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Your bottom line's still well above.
Yeah, true. Well, actually, I can't say that because I've heard that the Jacksonville Jaguars have been running in the red. They haven't exactly been running in the black, as kind of from the business standpoint. Like he's not
revenue
hurting.
Sharing.
Yeah, he's not hurting, but you know what I'm saying. Like He's not exactly running a company that's generating billions a year.
Right.
But I feel what you're saying. Like, no, is it like? But I don't think. Once again, I don't think he'll let Tony get it to the point where it is hurting him before he pulls the plug. I think if it starts being a money sucker where it's starting to drag on his profits, on whatever profits he's making from the Jaguars or whatever other businesses, I think he'll have zero, because he's not a wrestling fan. Like this isn't a Saeed. Tony's a huge wrestling fan, but Saeed is not, and he's so much said as much. This is a business venture. So if it's starting to suck on the profits from his other company, I don't think he'll be. And people hate it when I say it in the AEW group, but they just got to realize WWE is inevitable. It's not going anywhere. It has survived. It has survived for 50 years and is still gaining momentum. It's not going. No matter how much you write on the internet that WWE sucks, it's not going anywhere. And no matter how many people you find that agree with you, it's not going anywhere. Because for every one of you people
Vince
that's on the internet,
right?
Huh?
Vince has conquered every territory he sought out to conquer.
Yep. So
like every single one of them.
Pretty much.
There used to be territories. Now there's not. That's on Vince.
Scotty P, did you get a chance to check out the Big Show on Netflix?
The Big Show? God damn it, no, I didn't. I've been meaning to watch that.
Bro, you got to watch it. It's classic, like I want to say mid-90s sitcom. Like type of funny.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A mid-90s sitcom starring The Big Show.
Yeah.
Hold up, real quick.
What's that?
I forgot something.
What's that?
I don't know if you managed to see earlier, but did you see what fucking Triple H did earlier this week? If I'm not mistaken, he bought Evolve.
Yes, I did hear about that. Like I heard a small snippet about it. Yeah, I heard he was trying.
Yeah, he straight up bought Evolve.
They didn't say what he was going to be doing with the wrestlers that were currently signed there, like if they were going to be flooded into NXT or what. But yeah, I heard about that. Wow, man.
Yeah, man. For the better part of a year, Evolve has been the. If you don't know, they've basically been the developmental to their developmental.
Yeah.
Everybody who's gone through Evolve has basically gone up to NXT, and they've used another one in Europe for that same purpose. I forget which one it is. I'll find out later on. But but I know they just bought Evolve probably to just be their developmental again.
I thought that, which by the way, just recently watched Fighting with My Family. Excellent movie. Only issue I have with it is that it completely skips over everything in NXT. Like in the movie, she directly
literally
goes
the best part of Paige's career.
Yeah. Like, she completely jumps over all of that shit. She goes directly from the Performance Center to the main roster. Like, and I was just like, so I guess fuck NXT, right? I guess fuck her fuck her being one of the first NXT women's champions, right? I guess fuck all of that, right? Okay. Fuck Charlotte Flair.
That was kind of a weak snub right there.
Yeah. I was like, fuck Charlotte Flair and her battles with the Four Horsewomen, with Sasha and Bayley and all that. Like, those are some of the most epic foundation battles for NXT's popularity at this point. And they just left it all out. They were just like, yeah, fuck it. Never happened. She was so damn good, she went straight from the Performance Center.
Vega is AJ, though.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry. No, if you're going to pick somebody to play AJ Lee, they at least need to be pale-skinned. Selena Vega is too damn dark to be playing AJ Lee. I love her, but damn, at least put some of the compact on her. Try to make her a little lighter. I don't know. But you use the sister right out of tan season.
It's like I don't even have a thing against dark girls. I'm literally dating a female that is way darker than me, no joke.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it's not AJ Lee, all right?
But you want to know what's funny?
It's got to be perfect.
The factoid that I found out, and I know both of you guys will recognize this name, but the body double for the actress that played Paige in the movie for some of the wrestling scenes that she couldn't do was Tessa Blanchard.
Oh shit!
Yeah. I was watching a little, because basically I went down the rabbit hole. I started going down the rabbit hole because I was trying to see who Vince Vaughn was supposed to be in the movie. like what character he was supposed to be. And I thought he was originally supposed to be Dusty Rhodes, but then I found out no, he's just a made-up character, a trainer, a made-up character trainer that they put out there for the movie. He doesn't really exist. So, but I found out that that Tessa Blanchard was the one that did the double scenes, and also I found out that the storyline about the fact of Paige's brother actually teaching a blind dude to wrestle was true.
Wow.
Like he actually taught a blind dude like how to wrestle. Like there's this scene. You guys I know Alpha. I know you've seen it. Have you seen the movie, Scott?
Yes.
Okay. So the scene where he's teaching the dude at the end with the brother. Like I found out that was really true. That wasn't like Hollywood it up. He actually taught a blind dude, and dude went on to wrestle professionally in Europe.
Wow.
I was just like, that was literally the most impressive fact that I found out. I was like, holy shit. And then also the other factoid that they said was the scene with The Rock calling her up to his suite during WrestleMania 30 to tell her that she was going to debut the next night on Raw and she was going to win the Divas Champion. Well, she didn't tell her that. In the movie, he didn't tell her that she was going to win the championship. He just told her that she was going to debut. But in real life, I guess, he called her up there because The Rock's the one that discovered her. Like, supposedly, he said that he basically, when he was in Europe shooting the Fast and the Furious, I believe that was 5. I forget which one. He's been in so many of them now. When he was shooting that one, he was back at his hotel after they got done shooting for the day and saw this documentary about Paige's family. And he was the one who called up Vince or whoever the guy was that was doing scouting at that time, was like, yo, we got this kid out here, like, you really need to come see. So, like, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is the one who brought us Paige. So, but yeah.
Pretty good hook.
Yeah. I was like, but
covered and shit.
Yep, but they said, of course, the scene when The Rock goes off on them backstage right before the tryout, that wasn't a real scene. Like, that was just for the movie. But yeah, and evidently him and Paige have a close relationship. Like, they're cool. But overall, dope movie. Anyway, sorry, we got sidetracked there. So, back to FyterFest and the re-debut of a belt that came from, well, let's say Alpha's childhood and some memorable years in the middle of me and Scotty P's life.
Yes.
When it was debuted and brought to us by the one and only Taz, who re-debuted it in his managerial role and gave it to the one and only Brian Cage. But, Scotty, why don't you give our listeners some history on where the Fuck the World belt came from?
It's a thing of beauty. It's just Taz being Taz at his most Taziest back then. Where it's just like, fuck you, you don't have a belt for me, you're not going to give me the belt, I'll make my own fucking belt. And it's like, before you know it, Taz has his own goddamn belt. But it's like, I think my favorite thing about the FTW title is after Taz left, Sabu won it. And like, Sabu legit did not like Taz. So he just like, he taped over the Taz on the belt and wrote Sabu on it. And it's just the ghettoest and best thing ever. And it's so petty.
You got to it first. I was going to say that, bastard.
Oh, man.
And Sabu's like, fuck you, bitch. I'm not wearing a belt with your name on it. Sabu.
Now, was that belt like the what was it, the global belt, or the in TNA, the one that Booker T actually went out and had commissioned himself? Like what is now the TNA Legends title, Booker T actually went out when he was with TNA and spent like $100,000 and had that belt commissioned?
No, Taz didn't do anything official. He just sort of brought the belt to the arena one day and said, I'm the FTW champ. It's an extremely Ted DiBiase move of him.
Yeah,
money,
exactly.
Money,
think of it like the $1 million title, where Ted DiBiase couldn't win one, so he just fucking made one.
Right. Oh, man. Well, your thoughts on Brian Cage, fellas. Let's start with you, Alpha. Brian Cage and AEW. I've kind of been underwhelmed by him. I don't know. Like you've already sold me one monster heel in the Murder Hawk, and well, after that match with Cody, I guess he's not much of a Murder Hawk, or I don't know. I haven't really seen him much recently. But your thoughts on Brian Cage and his build in AEW right now, and should he win the title next week on Fight for the Fallen?
Man, if you remember, I've actually been talking about boy Brian Cage for a while.
Yeah.
I brought him up like a few months back and a little while before that. I'm a huge Brian Cage fan. I first saw him in Lucha Underground, actually, when he was just Cage. But since then, I've gone around and I've looked at all of his work in PWG, and then I followed him in TNA too. And in all honesty, if you want to see what I consider to be his best work, your best bet is to look towards his work in Lucha Underground and PWG.
Okay.
But man, he is a fucking monster. I love the shit out of him, and I'm bound to love anything he does. And everyone and their mom knows that I am extremely passionate about ECW. So the fact that his manager is Taz, and now Taz has brought in the Fuck the World Championship to go along with it. All of it is one big happy package that I am madly in love with. Like, if there is, if I could put a list of my top 5 favorite things in AEW, Brian Cage would probably be number 2.
Nice. Scotty P?
Yeah,
he's number 1 is obviously
he's like
my father.
He's that perfect crate, though. You know, it's like he looks so ginormous, and he is. He's like, I don't know, probably like 275 if I was to throw out a guess, but he's only like 6 feet tall. So it's
really?
like he looks ginormous when he was doing all the lucha, because I mean he's just gigantic compared to them. But in reality, dude's just cracking 6 feet, but he's got that perfect Taz crate guy, you know, just doing what he does, and it's a excellent fit for like you were just saying, the first recipient of the new, or the reiteration of the FTW title.
Yeah. So here's a quick question for you guys. Without getting, we're going to get a little bit over to Keith Lee as well. But how has your guys' experience been watching the shows without any fans? Like, or with the new wrestler fans?
You want to go first, man?
Well, I guess I don't hate it, because in general I've always been a fan of like hearing the mat work and everything like that. I feel like a lot of that gets overshadowed with the crowds, but when it comes to reactions, and just, I mean, it's the nature of the business where it's very promo driven now.
Yeah.
So it's like they're out there and they're spitting these promos, but it's like no reaction whatsoever, because nobody's there.
Yeah,
and you're playing to a crowd that doesn't exist. So it's very awkward to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot more like mat work centric, which I'm always into. I've always preferred the work aspect of wrestling as opposed to all the mic work. Which, I mean, a good promo is always fun, but it just shouldn't dominate. So I would say it's just been weird.
For sure, Alpha.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I like the fact that now you can really hear all the mat work. Like we've talked about it before, you can really hear the heels now get into the heelery. People like, well, we haven't really been able to see Owens because he's been off since COVID and all that. But people like Owens, who are just constantly talking and shooting out of the mouth.
Exactly. It's funny as there's a video. Sorry, not to be just a real quick sidestep. There's a video of him making Roman Reigns break character while in a chokehold because of the shit he's saying going back and forth with a fan. Like, Kevin Owens became gold at that moment to me. I was like, dude, exactly. So Roman Reigns is like, you could tell he was just like, fucking Kevin. But anyway.
Like he could say that shit with a straight face, and it's gonna eventually pop you.
Exactly. Oh man,
dude. No, my favorite thing Owens has ever said. Right, he was in an interview. I don't know if I talked about it before, but I'm going to do it again because I love this shit. But he was in an interview, and he was talking about his interactions with CM Punk, right? And he was like, "Yeah, Punk got mad at me because I wear a shirt, and I don't wear like traditional wrestling gear. I don't wear the spandex, or I don't wear the leotard." And he was like, "I did once, and they told me to put the shirt back on because it wasn't me." And he was like, "People always tell me all the time, like, do I wear the shirt because I'm fat?" And he was like, "No, I know I'm fucking fat."
Yeah. He's like, "Hey, I just wear the shirt because I feel comfortable in it." Shit. Oh man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now, I don't know about y'all, but Edge and Randy Orton have been working one of the best feuds I've seen in wrestling for a while, since just before WrestleMania. And I'm sorry to say it. Like, I'm not sorry to say it, I should say. a lot of these young cats in wrestling need to take notice of what's going on with those two. Because the Legend Killer is possibly one of the best heels the business has ever seen. MJF, you want to say you're the best in the business? Pay attention to what Randy Orton's doing right now. Because the Legend Killer is truly one of the best heels in the business.
Yeah. Randy Orton caught a lot of heat like early on, but you know what? He's evolved into probably one of the best workers they've ever had.
Yep. Well,
easily,
I was like, if you want to see a good example of Randy Orton's heel work in the sense of its prime, like, think this past week on Monday Night Raw, he did a 6-man tag match with against Big Show and the Viking Raiders, which, by the way, the Viking Prophets is the best fucking segment ever. I don't care what anybody says. I love it.
Dude, I get tired of that shit.
That shit was awesome. But during the match, they've been hinting at trouble between Andrade and Angel Garza. And so just like in typical fashion, like they have been doing the past couple of weeks, they get to arguing with each other. Randy Orton calls Angel Garza out the fucking ring, grabs that fool up by his neck, and holds him up and goes, if you don't get your shit together and start working this match, I swear to God, I'm going to break you. And I was like, now see, that's good heel work. And then literally just let him go. Right? I was like, get back in the ring. Come on, let's go get this done. And I was just like, that. See, and once again,
nobody does that shit.
Exactly. Well, Alpha.
Nobody does that shit anymore.
And I'll say Alpha's heard me say it before, because my biggest irritation with AEW fans is that all of them seem to be on this consensus that MJF is the best heel in the business today. And I'm like, you're not the best heel in the business just because you're a dick 24/7. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how it works.
He's just an asshole.
You know, I'm like, flipping off kids is not being a great heel. It's just being a dick.
Yeah.
You know, and so as I was, sorry, I'll finish this up real quick. As I was making those pleas on the show is when Orton and Edge started their thing. And then as I watched it develop, I'm like, now that's heel work. And Orton doesn't have to be a dick to anybody. You know what I'm saying? And he's still one of the greatest heels that's going into business right now. But go ahead. I forgot who I cut off, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. I don't know. You can speak on it if you want, Scotty. Anything?
Oh no, just the Randy Orton legacy. I guess at this point, he's one of those heels that never had to actually change his character at all.
Yeah.
And like, there's a few that have been lucky enough to do that. Dwayne got away with it. Steve did it. Flair, God only knows how many times that guy went back and forth and didn't 40 years he didn't change his character at all. It's miraculous. And,
the jet flying, limousine ride.
And it's like, but yeah, Orton has that ability to just kind of turn it up a little bit, where it's like, yes, I'm definitely a heel right now, and it's with being paired up with another veteran like Edge, you're gonna have the best storytelling, like in the ring and just story-wise, that you've had in a long time.
In a long time. So, and what's funny is, and one of the other thing that irritates me is consistently, and I say this because I just recently watched them go at it with two of the best wrestlers in the business, in Nakamura and Cesaro, two of the best workers in the business. But the New Day, a lot of people don't give them enough credit. Like, a lot of people write them off as a comedy act, and it pisses me off. Because I'm like, yes, they do have a comedy side to what they do, but when you watch Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, and Big E go in the ring, all three of them boys can go. You know, and so
you're the comedy act. Nothing racist about that.
You know, what's up? What's Alpha?
Not even including that he is like a genuine Olympic level power lifter.
Yeah,
first off, right?
You guy's a monster.
And what was funny was, Scotty, you can tell me what you think about this. I was actually running down the Alpha that people were running down Vince McMahon and his group I'm in, and running down Vince McMahon for never allowing people to go with their own opinion, supposedly, right? Which he does have a thing of that. But I was like, but I think it's been proven time and time again that if you can convince Vince that whatever your idea is will make him money, he'll fucking go with it. And I use the New Day as a prime example, because Vince's original idea for the New Day was this Baptist priest type thing. That's why the first few vignettes that you see for the New Day, they're with the choir and they're all clapping and they're in the Farrakhan suits and all that.
Oh no.
That was Vince's first idea. He wanted a new nation, right?
Oh God,
and then
that's beautiful. That is the most Vince thing.
Pretty much, and basically, Kofi and them were like,
good kick back on. It's good shit, I tell you.
Golden, man, they'll buy it. They'll eat it up. Them black kids, no. Anyway.
Oh, Vince, never change ever. God damn you, Vince McMahon.
So that was Vince's original idea for them. But I guess Kofi and Biggie and Xavier went back to him and was like, look, we kind of want to put our own little spin on it. And that's when they came with more of the geek culture type method of it. And it got so over that Vince was just like, well, fuck it, run with it then. You're making me money. Fuck it. Run with it.
Screw it. You're selling merch and you're getting over.
Right?
Yeah.
No, did you actually hear the pitch that Xavier actually gave to Vince, though? No, it's he approached Vince, and I believe it was after they started the angle, right?
Right.
And Xavier was like, look, for like the next 3 or 4 weeks, if you put a mic in my hand, and by the end of those weeks, if they're not booing us, you can send me down to NXT personally, and I will get demoted.
Yeah, and put his career on the line, huh? And yeah, I forgot New Day was a heel faction to open, huh? Before they turned to the good guys. So it's just one of those, and I use that story, and I also use the story about Daniel Bryan and the fact that like Vince told that mofo to his face, like, you'll never be a main eventer. Like, people forget that shit that they were telling, like him being a B+, all of that shit was what Daniel Bryan was really told. Like there was some of that was shoot. Like, and so a lot of people got to understand, once again, Daniel Bryan was another thing where he had to go out there and show Vince. Now, I believe that in his particular story, he did have Triple H behind him. Like, Triple H was like, yeah, dude, this kid can go somewhere. It was really more Vince like, nah, I'm good. Like, the kid just really doesn't fit my mold. And he had to go out there and show him, like, but Vince.
Look, an arena of people going yes at the same time will change your mind.
Yes, and so because of that, like, I always tell people that sometimes, like, okay, I got into this discussion because we were talking about the fact that the Revival was released, and they signed with AEW and Afterworld, and they're like, well, WWE really didn't know how to market them. I think that their particular brand of promo just didn't go over as well on the main roster as it did in NXT. They're great wrestlers. They are. But you got to have charisma on top of wrestling ability. Just wrestling ability doesn't get you over on the main roster at WWE. It just doesn't.
No. God, no.
So you got to have charisma, and those guys...
Yeah, that's palpable.
Exactly. And so
you know what's weird is, like, I guess that goes hand in hand with the death of, like, the manager,
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you had a big guy back in the day that couldn't talk, you had Heenan or Cornette or whoever the hell to cover for him. Yep. You don't have that anymore.
Which is why I personally
think valets.
Yes, I personally think we need to give stables a comeback in WWE, and we need to give Paul Heyman a stable. We need to give Paul Heyman the Heyman's guys stable. Like, and of course the stable is led by Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar is the most Heyman of all Heyman guys out there. So,
oh God, yeah,
the Heyman guy.
Right. So of course it's led by Brock Lesnar, but you give Brock Lesnar a tag team to go with him, so on and so forth. Like, American Alpha would have been a perfect tag team to throw in there, but they don't exist anymore.
Oh, you're right.
But like, I like what they're doing with MVP right now, except I just wish they'd keep his ass out the ring. The guy's a great talker. I'm not saying he can't wrestle. He can. I just think he would be better as a manager and as the lead to a stable. Like, I was telling Alpha about this a couple months ago that they needed to give him, and they already have. They gave him Bobby Lashley. They need to give him Cedric Alexander and Ricochet, but it looks like he's just going after Cedric Alexander, which sucks. But they needed to give him the tag team of Cedric Alexander and Ricochet, and then give him a female wrestler. Or if you don't want to go with the tag team of Cedric Alexander and Ricochet, give him the Street Profits, and then you give him Bianca Belair as his female. And yes, Don't get me wrong. It's not missed on me that the entire crew is black. There's a reason for it. Like it's kind of the whole nation thought process, except you do kind of a ballers version of it, where MVP is more of a where MVP is more of a sports agent than he is Louis Farrakhan. You know what I'm saying?
I like it.
You know, so. You know, I've always thought the MVP was a great on the mic, and you should just give him a stable. But now they've got this whole tag team where he's the mouthpiece for him and Bobby Lashley, and I'm just like, okay, this is, if you're not going to expand his stable out beyond him and Bobby Lashley, then this is just stupid. You're just giving me another tag team, and I don't really care for another tag team right now. We got enough good ones. Like, give me a stable.
For me, for me, I'm always going to be happy just to see MVP as a whole. I think, like, looking back on my childhood, some of my fondest memories are seeing MVP wrestle his ass off when nobody really expected him to. I don't know which Mania it is, but I know he walked in and he fought Chris Benoit one time, and it was an amazing match.
Yeah.
And he went backstage, and Stephanie was like, "Who knew you could do that?" And Chris Benoit was like, "I did." And like, some of my fondest memories are seeing MVP tear it up with the U.S. title. I would love to see him have one more run with the U.S. title if I possibly could.
It looks like that's where they're headed. He faces Apollo Crews. He on Monday Night Raw. He debuts a new U.S. title. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but look it up on Google. You can see it. It's I kind of like the original version.
I like it.
I wasn't super impressed with it, but I wasn't disappointed at it either. Like, but yeah, he
it's better than them just like changing the color palette on it, you know?
Yeah, and they and he crowned himself the new United States champion, even though he hasn't won it. So I assume at some point down the road he's going to win it.
Oh shit, let's go!
So, but yeah, no, like, and just some of the things that they're doing right now, I'm liking. Like I said, bring back stables. We need stables.
Right.
So
I miss big factions, you know.
Big time. So let's get to one more subject before we close out the show with a little gamer talk. We'll say Keith Lee. Whoop whoop, bask in his glory. The man who slowly became, over the past year, my favorite wrestler to watch in WWE. Keith motherfucking Lee. Yes, you got to put that MF in his name. If you can say Seth freaking Rollins, I'm going to say Keith motherfucking Lee. All right. My man is a double champion. He's the NXT. He is official. Do you realize he took 2 of the 4 belts that the Undisputed Era had himself? He started
it took one Keith Lee to take down a whole Undisputed Era, bro.
Bro, he took the North American title from Roderick Strong, wrestled with that for a couple months, and now he's taking the NXT title from Adam Cole.
Damn.
Let's call him a stable killer. My boy Keith Lee.
Mm-hmm. Guy's a tank, though. I mean, he's the perfect role for it.
He is.
And just, I mean, a guy that big that can move like he does is just incredible. It's so much fun to watch. He reminds me of a young Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah. Actually,
my favorite.
Go ahead.
Fucking love Bam Bam Bigelow, but I don't know about you, but I think like from the time that we saw him in the Royal Rumble onward, it was a given of when we were going to see him succeed like this.
Yeah.
I think it was less of an if and more of a when.
Well, I would go back as far as last year's Survivor Series. His moment in the ring with Roman Reigns was where he kind of solidified, like, I am here. Like, we had already known of him from NXT, if you had been paying attention, you know, like for months. But that was kind of like, to me, that was his I've arrived moment, and then it was backed up and followed by the moment with him and Lesnar and don't get me wrong, I would love to see a one-on-one match with him and Lesnar. Oh, please let them go. Like, that would be I just hope I'm not disappointed. Like, I was kind of disappointed in the Samoa Joe Lesnar match, and I was kind of looking forward to that one. But Keith Lee, I think, could deliver. Either him and Strowman, or him and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he's so much fun.
Brock has that thing where he'll sell his ass off when he wants to, and if he can sell his ass off for a fight with Lee, I think we have a really good match on our hands.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And could you imagine Brock getting Keith Lee up for an F5?
Oh,
that would be monstrous.
He'll do it too.
Yeah, I know. We've all seen him get the Big Show up, but damn, dude, like Keith Lee's a little bit kind of different type of weight. Like they both just about as heavy, but damn. Like, yeah, I would love to see that match. Like I said, him versus Strowman or him versus Lesnar. Give it to me anytime. I'm kind of liking the little storyline that's going on with Strowman and Wyatt. Like,
I'm really digging that.
And can we give the wrestler, like the honorable mention for wrestler of the decade to fucking Husky Harris, Bo Rotunda, a.k.a. The Fiend Bray Wyatt? This man has reinvented himself 5 times successfully within the same decade. Like, within the same, 2-decade period of time. My God.
What you got to do, man, you got to get yourself over.
Yep.
By any means necessary.
Like, Bo Rotunda wasn't working, so he went to Husky Harris. Husky Harris wasn't working, so he became Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt was working, but then fell off, and then he became The Fiend. Like, dude, love it, man. Love it.
I feel like that's always a really telltale sign of a good-ass wrestler, not even in terms of, ring, just of awareness and where he's at in the business. Because you see people like Jericho who have outright survived off of that method.
Yep.
Like, Jericho is great, don't get me wrong, but if Jericho stopped evolving after 2001, we would be missing a lot of really good fucking content.
Yeah.
And so you look at people like Jericho who, and you can even talk about people like Hogan if you want, who have just invented themselves endlessly, and that has given them an unbearable amount of life to their career again,
Yep. And that's how he's survived. A lot of people don't. And people say misused, but but I don't think he was ever misused. Once again, I'll get to this real quick. The discussion that we talked about, my little moment of ranting about the use of the word buried, and I'm glad that we're talking about Bray Wyatt. Because I've heard multiple times that since he lost to Goldberg, which I don't understand why it doesn't make sense to other people. Like I get it. Goldberg is a part-timer. But it's not like they brought back the Shockmaster and he beat Bray Wyatt for the Universal title. We're talking about Goldberg here. Now, did he deserve to win that title? Nah, not really. But if you think about it and you watch it, they were trying to get the belt. And me and Alpha have had this discussion, Scott. I don't know if this is the first time you've heard me say this, but they were trying to figure out a way to get the belt back on Roman without making The Fiend look weak. And Goldberg was supposed to be that bridge.
Interesting.
Okay? Goldberg was supposed to be that bridge to be able to keep The Fiend looking strong, but take the strap off of him and get it to Roman to set up a future. I think they had plans on Fiend versus Roman for the Universal title at SummerSlam. And I think we still might see that if Roman comes back. I think Roman will end up taking the belt from Braun Strowman, and then we'll end up seeing The Fiend come back after the belt. Because the match this weekend or at the Extreme Rules isn't a championship match. So he
the good old days of Roman pushes. Yeah.
So we should be coming back to those fairly soon here, depending on when he feels comfortable coming back out of the house. But people gotta understand, WWE is building some decent storylines recently. Not all of them are good. There's some crappy ones in there. Don't get it twisted. There's some crappy ones, but I hope they follow through on the 2-woman power trip. And if you've been keeping up with WWE, you kind of know what I'm talking about. At this moment, Bayley and Sasha are the women's tag team champions, and Bayley is the SmackDown women's champion. Well, Sasha Banks has a match against Asuka, who's the Raw women's champion at Extreme Rules. So if she can win her match, Bayley can retain her belt, and they can retain the tag team belts. They'll basically be the female version of the two-man power trip perpetrated by Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H many years ago.
The goal is that we would see this in the form of one Samoan Joe and Samoan Joe. And by that I mean Samoa Joe and fucking Roman Reigns, of course.
Yes. Oh.
But I'll take this.
Yeah. No, I really wanted to see those two work together, and the way they built that feud a few months back, like it looked like that's where they were headed with it, and like they just stopped, and I was just like, no, man, that would be the ultimate tag team, mainly because Joe, man, you can't find a better talker than Samoa Joe, and let me tell you this, having met the man in person, the man. Better than MJF ever could hope to be. Samoa Joe keeps in character even when he wants to. Because I literally saw him go from out of character. Exactly, from out of character to in character between my boy Cole to me. Scotty P, I don't know if you ever heard this story, but when we went to when we did the ROH show, WrestleMania weekend, when WrestleMania was in Santa Clara, we did the ROH show, which just happens to be Joe's final show. We worked security at that show. It happened to be Joe's final show for ROH before he made the jump to NXT. Right? Well, Cole, your boy Cole had met Joe before. Right? Well, and I hadn't met him, but I had met Kaz and Christopher Daniels before. So we're walking up and we're walking through. We had just got done helping set up the ring, and Cole's walking by saying hi to everybody. Shakes Daniels' hand, says what's up. I come up behind him, shake Daniels' hand. Daniel says what's up. He shakes Kazarian's hand, says what's up. Kazarian shakes my hand. I shake Kazarian's hand, say what's up. He shakes Joe's hand. Joe's like, yeah, what's up, Cole? So I go to shake Joe's hand. Joe looks at my hand, looks at me, and just sits there. And I was just like, good to meet you, sir. And just kept on walking. And I was just like, well, I can't really blame him. It's not like dude knows me. You know what I'm saying? Like Cole's dealt with him before. They've met in a non-professional environment. As far as he knows, I'm just some fan following behind Cole. So I didn't really take it personally, but it was just like, damn, dude. Like that? Like he was just smiling and talking to Cole, and just all of a sudden I was just like, damn. All right. Well, it was good to meet you, Joe. I'm literally one of your biggest fans. Great to meet you. But none of that changed the fact that I still was happy when Joe hit WWE and when he hit the main roster, and I still think his feud with AJ Styles was one of the best feuds I've ever seen in my life. Oh, Wendy will be stuck in my fucking head from now until forever.
It's crazy that he made like if you were to word out that whole feud, right? It sounds really stupid on paper.
Yeah.
But Joe managed to shift that shit into something really fucking dope.
Oh yeah. So, all right. So, final subject, fellas. We got to get you on it, Alpha. Scotty P is already on it. But for those of you who don't know, Four Aces Presents has our own gaming, little Facebook fan page. It's called First Gen Xers. And we talk and share our video clips and share our online battles. Saint just put up a battle from last night between me and him on NBA 2K, and then we played a couple of games of WWE 2K20 for the PlayStation. I put my my male character that I created, Damien Dark, up against Scotty. You like that, Scotty? Up against
nice.
Kahari's character of I forgot what it was called. You have to check the video out on the website, see. And then we did a female matchup.
I can get him
with both of our females. His female character, created character, the Queen, and my female created character, Nora Dark, the daughter of Damien Dark, who's they're going to be the Dark family on the WWE universe. But yeah, we went 1-1, but it was some great battles, and you can catch them on the website. I've got some videos of actually the WWE Universe, me letting the computer play against itself, but that was some fun battles between New Day and Heavy Machinery and stuff like that. So just check out the First Gen Xers fan page. If you like what you see, it's public. So if you like what you see, ask to join. And as long as you're a gamer, an older gamer at heart, we don't do none of that young Fortnite and all the rest of that. Nah, that's for them young cats. This is for us older gamers. So us guys that have been around for a while, and the guys that appreciate it like Alpha. So come join us and on First Gen Inc. And get to know some of the other people on the Four Aces crew, because I think most of the hosts of the various shows are already on the page. So Just something I kind of wanted to point out there. But fellas, gaming experiences. Let's see off the top of our heads, funniest gaming experience you can think of for yourself. Alpha, kick us off, and this is what we'll wrap up on.
All right, you know what? That's fair. I immediately something comes to mind, and I can shoot off the cylinders. All right, look, everybody is familiar with the Skate series, right? And how glitchy and like fucky those games are, but it's fun, right? So, Skate 2 has a game mode called Hall of Meat, right? And the whole game mode doesn't revolve around getting points or doing tricks. It's about hurting yourself as much as you possibly can.
Okay.
So you have like all these different. Yeah, I know it's pretty morbid. Don't get me wrong, but so all of the stages for this game mode are revolving around just hurting yourself. And there's this map called the Well, I believe, and it's this giant emptied out dam. And usually it's like, you can just throw your character off into it and they'll hit the ground and they'll make a crunch and you get your points, et cetera, et cetera. But it gets a little bit funner when you get some of the cheat characters, right? Some of the cheat code characters are like you can play as Rob Deerdick, right? And so by extension, the other cheat character that you can play as is Big Black Christopher Boykins, rest in peace, the boy. But
oh wow.
But if you manage to do like this little ball form on your way down while you're falling, only as playing Big Black, you will not hit the ground and like splat. You will hit the ground and bounce. And I don't mean like a little bounce. I mean, you watch this massive like 300-pound black dude ball form midway, hit the ground, and then bounce back up like another 80 yards, and then bounce back down. It's the funniest, dumbest shit in the world. That's your moment. Dorky as shit, but that's what comes to mind first. And that's what comes to mind.
All right, Scotty awesome. P, you got a moment for us?
Okay, so I do actually. So Just Cause 4 has been a pretty strong source of entertaining videos you can find all over YouTube. There's all kinds of awesome shit. You can do pretty much anything in that game. But there's one video in particular sticks out that I found on the internet this last week. So the guy kills 9 reindeer, right? And lines them up, straps rockets to each of the reindeer, which are also attached to a sled behind them. He triggers the rockets. The reindeer take off, so you got these dead reindeer flailing in the wind, and these rockets are carrying this sled. And it's just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, you see stuff like that, and you're like, God, I love video games.
Oh, man. All right.
It's the guiltiest laugh you'll have all week.
Other shit.
Yes. I'm just picturing dead reindeer fluttering.
Awesome. Lord.
Okay, so I'll close the show with this one. All right, so this is and Saint's gonna kill me for telling this story on air. All right, so
oh boy,
Scotty, you remember I used to live in a little apartment off of Bancroft, right?
I do.
And we used to have battles there, and there were battles had between me and the Saint there at times in which nobody else was really there. I lived there with my homeboy Suave from West Coast Bias, and Saint used to spend a lot of time there kicking it, and we'd play. And one day he came in, and he's just like, yeah, man, Dead or Alive, da-da-da, and I'm badass at it. Now, mind you, Dead or Alive was one of those games that I kind of learned.
The one you told me?
Yeah, I believe I've told you this one before. But
let's go.
I got good at Dead or Alive. I can't deny it. The minute I figured out the counter button and how to utilize the counter in fights, I became damn near unstoppable. At one point, I played a couple of my friends, Scotty P, you remember, but Rita, Hav, and Jesse, played at my house with them on my Xbox. And, you do the pass the controller, loser passes the controller. I beat them so many times consecutively that they just set down the controller and were just like, we don't want to play with you anymore. So that was kind of how good I had gotten at the game. So Kahari comes by, and he's like, yeah, whoomp to whoomp, I can play this. I'm like, oh, really? You can play? He's like, yeah. I was like, why don't you do me a favor then? He's like, what? I was like, why don't you put up something? And he's like, put up something? Yeah, man. That Temptation CD. I like that Temptation CD. No. Sorry. The first bout was for Pride. He lost in 2 rounds. Then he got pissed. Yeah, he can beat me. Okay.
And then he was like, I fight better when something's on the line or something.
Exactly.
Like that, right?
That was the third fight. Second fight gets mollywopped again, except he wins a round. Third fight is I play better when there's something on the line. What do you want? I want that Temptation CD. I think I ended up winning like 3 of his CDs that day, but I gave the other 2 back and kept the Temptation CD to teach him a lesson. Just so he would remember that, like, dude, like, you've never beaten me. Well, needless to say, it transitions into now we're 20 years later. Gari's playing me in Soul Calibur. And I think it was like the 3rd match in. You can find it on the First Gen Xers webpage. There's a fight that we have where I think it's like Taki and I'm Nightmare. And the man never even gets a swing of a sword in. Nightmare does these sequences of moves with that long-ass 30-foot blade where he, like, slams it down, then pokes it at you and it spins around, and then he slams it down again, and then he swings sideways where he crosses, like, an entire area swinging sideways, and it just for 1 round, Saint had no clue what to do. Every time he got up, there was already a sword being swung at him. And the man does not have good luck when it comes to fighting games against me is basically the ultimate part of my story. And this is why, like, we played Soul Calibur and we played Mortal Kombat. I think I finished the night something like 9-4 against him. And I was just like, yeah, dude, like, we got to stop playing these types of games. Because in basketball, he whipped my ass. But then again, last night, in an episode, in a show a video that he's going to put up later on, we did the 06-07 We Believe Warriors versus the 01-02 Sacramento Kings.
Oh, boy.
And he was up by as much as 8. Right? I got within 3 in the 4th quarter, and Jason Richardson took over. Just started dropping threes on him. Swish. I think I ended up winning. At one point I was up by 7, and I think I ended up winning by 7. But yeah, you guys will see it when it goes up on the fan page. But yeah, battles, brother. Battles. So
and I would love to get in on that, man. I'm all about fighting games, especially Soul Calibur.
Oh yeah. You're a PS4 guy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We got to find each other on the PS4, and yeah, we got to get in some battles so that we can get them up on the page, and you got to get on that fan page too. Just ask to join, and either me or Saint will do it for you.
I'll send you my gamer tag after we're done here.
For sure. Yeah, I'm on my PlayStation. Ironically, because of COVID, and this is the most beautiful thing that has come out of COVID, is that I bought my PS4 right before COVID started. And because of COVID and me not working, but maybe like 12 to 16 hours a week at Home Depot, I have time to play my Xbox and play my PlayStation. I don't have to choose. I can play one for a couple hours, come home, go somewhere, go complete some errands, and do the rest. I've gotten lucky in that sense. And I say that openly. Because if I had been working 50, 60 hours a week and trying to have both these systems, they maybe only get played once a month. Because I'm just too tired and my old ass just don't have the time. But because of COVID, I have the time, and so I've been enjoying it, killing it on Madden.
Same here. If you remember, last time we recorded, I was able to bring a little insight on. I started Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
I've managed to complete the whole series a few times now.
A few times, damn.
And so like. Yeah, no, I bought all the rest of the series. I mean, like 1, 2, 3, and Bloodborne. I have all of them now, and I have hauled ass on all of them. So next week, when we record again, I'll probably be bringing my full comprehensive review of the series.
All right.
But I have New Game Plus all 3 of the games a few times now. I have a problem.
Let me say this: I resisted getting a PlayStation for a good long while. I'm an Xbox guy, always have been. I resisted getting a PlayStation, but I'm happy I got my PlayStation 4. Like, the PlayStation Store is like Amazon to me. I need to stay the fuck off of it. Because I'll find at least 3 or 4 games every time that I'm on there that I'm like, oh, this game is only $6.99. Oh, this game is only $14.99. And then next thing I know, I've spent $50. And I'm just like, God damn it, stop having such good-ass deals. And it doesn't help that I have a 5 terabyte external hard drive for my PlayStation 2. So downloading the games is like, so yeah, man. So, but anyway, we've crossed our 2-hour threshold, so we got to go. Scotty P, it's been great having you, brother. Anytime you want to come back, let me know. I'm pretty sure you're more than welcome.
Absolutely.
And
that was great, man. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And so we'll catch y'all next Sunday. We may be live. It depends on what the schedule calls for. We may pre-record. We'll see. But it's been definitely great doing it live for the past 3 weeks, so we'll try to see how long we can keep this going. Y'all have a great night out there. Like I said, listen in to 4 Aces. You got, I don't believe the Saints going to be on later on tonight, but you do got Dirty Talk 101 tomorrow. You got Lip Gloss and Mics and Kings and Queens of Porn on Wednesday. You got Lovely Radio on Thursday. Me back again. I'm going to be doing greatest live rock performances, which, by the way, Scotty P off air, if you want to put some input in on that next episode of KD5P, because I know you know of some good rock performances as well, so you can help me pick out some good ones. I want to say, that's KD5P on Friday. Double K's Classroom will be returning at the end of the month. West Coast Bias will be back towards the end of the month as well. Other than that, y'all stay up, stay right. Alpha, Scotty P, any last words for the people?
Have fun, people.
You know
Stay safe.
goes.
Cover your damn mouths.
Yes, you heard it here. Wash your fucking hands. Stay safe, my people.
For God's sake, wash
Thank you
your
for coming
hands.
along, Scotty.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I didn't think we should have to tell people to wash their hands, but in today's society, well, y'all have a great
think, right?
We out.
All right.